West Indies Cricket, Caribbean Cricket Podcast. West Indies Cricket, Caribbean Cricket Podcast.
Yes. Welcome back to the Day at the Test with the Caribbean Cricket Podcast. I'm one half of the Caribbean Cricket Podcast, Machel St. Patrick Hewitt, and I've got my white do-rag on. I'm a real crip out here. I've got my do-rag on. All I need is my big gold chain. I might sing 1-2 lyrics. If love's so nice, tell me why it hurts so bad, badong. If love's so nice, then tell me why I'm sad, missing again. We're out here today. West Indies trail by 82 runs. Today, what do we get today? 190. We got up to 190, and Australia at the close of play on day 2 are 92 for 4. They lead by 82. So actually, before I even get to that, first things first, unless you are the most churlish, unless you're a hater, unless you're an absolute hater of Darren Sammy, even the biggest haters have to acknowledge that after 2 days of this test match, West Indies have outperformed your expectations. If you had said to anybody before the start of the first test against Australia that West Indies would, we're not in the driving seat. I'm not gonna go that far. I wouldn't say we're in the driving seat, but we're at the bare minimum, we are level pegging in this test match, and we've been level pegging since the start of this test match. If you had offered that to anybody before this test match had started, they would have taken that immediately. So as things stand right now at the close of play on day 2, West Indies have outperformed all of our expectations. Even the haters have to admit it. They'll still probably hate, because if you've already decided that Darren Sammy's no good and you wanted this man in the team and you can't understand why that man's in the team, you're gonna hate anyways, because you got hate just kind of coursing through your veins. But we're doing better than expected. Let's put the first question into the chat. Where's this thing now? One second, people. How do I let me do this? Let me go onto YouTube. Bear with me, people. Let me go onto YouTube here. So far, we've got 214 people in. We got 214 people in the live. Yesterday's live show, post-match live show, post-day live show, got up to 440 concurrently in the live at any one time. What are you lot saying? You want me to become a streamer? I might as well run an OnlyFans page. Might as well run an OnlyFans page and just on those OnlyFans page where people just cut their toenails and stuff, and then they just get coins and tokens. What are you lot saying? You want me to start cutting my toenails? Who would send me a super chat if I start cutting my toenails? You lot ready for that? Where's my nail clipper? Where's my nail clipper out here? Start cutting my toenails out here. Couple man will pay huge money for me to start cutting my toenails, What are you lot saying? Right. Anyways, let me put this one in the chat. Hold on 1 second. Let me put this question in the chat. Hold on. I'm actually going to get to the cricket analysis soon, but we have to put some questions in the chat. Okay, so here we go. Hold on. How do I do this again? Bear with me, people. Let me put this question in the chat. How many runs? Okay, here we go. Get ready to answer this, people. Just putting this in the gonna just add these options in here. To be fair, I think it's obvious what needs to be here. There we go. Answer that question, people. It's gone in the chat right now. So how many runs is too much to chase, right? So the match is going to end tomorrow. That much is clear, right? And we're going to have to chase. Some people would say that Australia have already got enough runs and that Australia can bowl us out for less than 82. But the chances are that we're going to end up having to chase either 120, somewhere between 125 and 150, somewhere between 150 and 175, 175 to 200, or 200 plus. Chances are we're going to be facing one of those particular categories of runs. So my question is, what's too many? How many is too many for West Indies to chase? Okay, so 51% of you, so if I'm going to leave that up for quite some time, 51% of you are saying that 200 plus is too many to chase, which means that you lot think that if Australia set us 175 that we'll win. Are you not that confident? I'm not voting because I don't know yet. What I do know is this: Australia currently lead by 82, and they could win with a lead of 82. That's all I know, right? So when some of you are saying, "Oh yeah, we can chase 175," I'm like, "Yeah, I'm not as confident as you lot. I'm not as confident." Anyways, where's that comment I just saw? Charlie Bowers says 150 and it's long. 200 is game over if that's what West Indies have to chase. Donovan Lord says, talk about the goddamn cricket and the atrocious decisions against West Indies. Don't worry, I'm getting there. I'm just warming up. In 1977, I remember when, I can do that if you want. I can remember, I can do all that, you know. I can do that one. Blasphemia. I can do all that. But I'm warming up. Because my take on the where's the comment again from Thingy? My take on the atrocious decisions is not the same as most of your takes. I've got a different take to you lot, probably. I wonder how many people are going to have the same take as me. So I'm building up to it. You lot ain't ready for what I'm about to say on that. You lot ain't ready for my take on it. Right, okay. What else are we saying? Khalil says West Indies possibly will have to chase at least 140 to 150 tomorrow. Okay. I think for me to be confident that we'd chase somewhere in the region of 140 to 150, we probably needed one more wicket tonight. And then I might have been confident to say, yeah, I think we'll only end up chasing like less than 150. All the while, Travis Head and Bo Webster got to the close, and because it allows them to start again tomorrow, there's just that element of, and obviously Carey will come next. Cummins and Stark aren't any slouches. And obviously this is the general kind of, obviously these are the kind of general videos. So watch your videos. Obviously, these are the kind of general pessimisms you have as a West Indies fan, because we've seen so many defeats over the years that you struggle to convince yourself that, like, think about the Gabba last year, right? As brilliant as the Gabba was, and it was one of the greatest victories I've ever seen the West Indies produce in the whole time of sport of the West Indies. Most of us going into that Gabba test and the final day of that test match were like, yeah, but we probably aren't going to win. Even when Shamar was firing up and running through them, there would have been the average West Indian fan would be like, yeah, but we're not going to win. That's probably how we're all feeling today. Like, I feel like we can win, but my inner West Indian pessimism of having been there before and seen us snatch defeat from the jaws of victory means that I'm always cautious with it, if that makes sense. Okay. Okay, so there's a comment here. Gavin says, do you have a burner account looking at that man's videos? No, I just, every now and again, somebody sends me a clip, so I go and watch it. But I don't watch the videos because after about 3 minutes to 4 minutes of it, I can't take it anymore because it's just not very good, basically. But like, big up to him, because he's got his own audience and he's got his own lane. I need to stay in my lane. But on a personal level, it's just not very good. Yeah, so that's just me, innit? Earl Cameron says if Australia sets West Indies 220, West Indies can win. Interesting. Okay, let's get into it. So Emmanuel Nurse says at the start of the day, I would have taken the results, but the umpiring decisions just feel like an injustice. Okay, let's get into it. Let's get into it then. Because I did, you know what? At the start of the day of the first session, I did write down some notes. So let's go from my notes first. So first things first. Okay, let's go with this first. Because everyone's, and I'm not here to just do a pro West Indies thing. That's not how this channel runs. Like we run jokes, but we try to be balanced in what we're doing, right? So if you're here to just hear me cuss and say we got teethed and this, that, I'll do a bit of that. I'm actually going to be a bit more balanced. Hear me out. First things first, the obvious thing to do is to say West Indies got teethed out by the third umpire with all the different decisions. I'm going to get to that. But first, let's acknowledge the following. At the start of the day, Chase and King were dropped by Australia, right? So first things first, my thing is you have to keep the same energy. In the same way how yesterday everyone wanted to cuss and say, West Indies put down drops. If they hadn't dropped so many men, West Indies would have been well ahead. Well, Australia dropped Chase and King early doors. So are we saying the same thing for Australia? Chase went on to score 44 runs. Australia dropped him before he'd even got into double figures. So what do we say then? Like, do we turn around and go, well, if Australia hadn't dropped Chase, then maybe West Indies wouldn't even have made 100? And like, do you see how this works? And that's why yesterday, when everyone was cussing about drops, I was saying it is what it is. To me, drops are part and parcel of the game. Yes, okay, they're elite athletes and you expect them to take certain catches. Didn't you see Carey's drop? Even I would have taken the drop that Carey dropped. That one was regulation to slip, and man shelled it, and I think Kawaja tried to catch it on the comeback, right? So we can all do the if it wasn't for this, if it wasn't for that. They dropped Chase. Chase went on to score 44 runs. Cool. That's issue number one. Issue number two. In all the talk of this was a teeth out and the third umpire teethed us out, am I the only person who remembers that early on in the piece today, Chase was out LBW? And it clearly, for me, hit the pad first. Let me know, actually, before I move on, get the comments below. Does anyone even remember that? Because we've got loads of energy to say third umpire teethed us out, and there's validity to that. But what about the teeth out when Chase was out LBW? Unless, what, am I wrong? Was Chase not out LBW? They said it was bat, not pad. When I'm watching it, I'm going, no, that's pad first. Is it not pad first? Let me pause because I want to see what people think about that. I swear he was out. Chase got dropped and then he was out LBW. So what are we saying now then? Like, are we just saying that third up? See, my thing is this, and this is why I'm saying if you came here to listen to me cuss about the third umpire and say we got teethed out, there's validity in that. But he also teethed out Australia early doors with the LBW on Chase. It's not, to me, it's not as simple as the umpire teethed out. The reality is he's just incompetent. That's the reality. I ain't got time for and he teethed us in this way and he teethed us in that way. The man just incompetent, full stop. Did Australia get the rub of the green with it? Yes, but there was an equal teeth out. Chase went on to score 44 runs. Man got a life. Or have you lot forgotten that? Now, good point here. This is the point. So D, why for that, said Carlos on air said something about in between frames. D, I'm about to come to that because this is the thing that I think everybody missed in today's ranting and raving. Everyone hold on to, I'm going to leave this on the screen, okay? Because this is the key for me before we jump into the ranting and the raving, okay? Read it again from D. Why for that? D says, Carlos on air said something about in between frames. Now, listen and hear me out, people. Listen and hear me out. Let's talk about the Chase issue first. Because which one's what? So we want to talk about the Chase one And then remind me that after Chase, I want to talk about Hope. And I want to link Hope's dismissal to the one that Hope took yesterday. So let's talk about Chase's one first. When I watched Chase's one in real time, first time I watched it, I was like, oh, that could be LBW, right? That's the first time. Second time I watched it, I went, oh, that's an inside edge. This is before they even loaded up what do you call it, ball tracking and all of that. I was like, oh, that looks like an inside edge, right? And as Carlos and I think a few others said on comms, when you've played the game, not that I have, I've just watched the game, I was like, oh yeah, that's an inside edge, because you can tell by deviation of the ball. Okay, cool. Now, when they then played all of the clips of the roll through for Chase's decision, what happened, this is from my perspective, I'm not talking about whether I'm right, I'm just saying from my perspective. There's 480 of you in the live, by the way. So big up all of you. Like the stream, share it everywhere. Actually, 492. We might even hit 500 plus. Share the stream with your aunties and your uncles. Blah blah blah. Do all of that, people. Social media, etc. We're on Patreon. Become a patron. Buy me a coffee. Oat vanilla latte, please. All of that. Right. Anyways, when they shared the frames, right, on the screen, what I saw was this. On the right-hand side of the frame, I'm trying to remember how it went, it showed, on the left-hand side, sorry, it showed a spike as the ball was passing the bat. That's on the left-hand frame. On the right-hand side of the frame, it showed the ball hitting the pad. I think the point I'm trying to make here is that the frames weren't in sync, okay? They clearly didn't look like they were in sync, right? I was going off the left-hand side where it showed a spike as the ball was hitting the bat or something to that effect. The ball then goes on to, am I getting the right decisions here? Yeah, sorry. The ball then goes on to hit the pad or something like this. I might be mixing stuff up because I'm trying. There were so many different mad decisions today, but because there was, I'm thinking about an Australian decision as well, which was given not out. We'll get to that later. So, anyways, right. So I'm looking at the two. I'm looking at the two screens, going, well, hold on, these things aren't synced up. Anyways, it looked like a clear deviation from bat onto pad, but clearly the umpire had decided that the ball had he decided that the ball had already hit the pad or something like that. I don't know. Right now. Anyways, after Chase was dismissed, I went on Twitter and I basically wrote, I don't think I understand how Snicko works. Or I'm just an outright dunce because maybe it's so obvious how Snicko works and I just don't get it. But I just basically typed out, I must not understand how Snicko works because I feel like I'm a dunce because I wasn't understanding how the Chase decision was made, right? 10 minutes later now, so Chase departs, obviously man of X and Bishop, I think Bish is cussing, certain man are cussing. Now, I don't know how many of you heard what Carlos said on comms about 10 minutes after the decision. And this is the key part of tonight's show. Carlos came on, and please put in the comments if you remember this. Carlos came on comms and put up on the screen at the time as Carlos was talking, they showed two different images. They showed an image of Snicko with a little spike, which coincided with the ball going past the bat, maybe, or going with the bat. And then they showed a next image, which was loads of spikes with the ball hitting the pad. Something to that effect. It was something like that. Those of you who are technologically gifted, go and find it and give me a link to it or something. But that's what I remember, right? And Carlos said the following. He said, the people at Snicko have said that the spikes you're supposed to pay attention to is the large spikes, not the little spike. And I'm probably butchering the explanation, but what I understood from the explanation he gave of what the Snicko people had told him is that the first little spikes you see are not the spikes that third umpires are supposed to use. They use the large spikes, something like that. Now, hear me out. I'm saying that if that's the reasoning that is given from Snicko, third umpires, whatever, I'm calling bullshit on it. So my view is, that's it. Kingston's got it here. It was spikes in the middle of the box. That's the phrase they use. Now, my thing is this. I'm calling bullshit on that. However, if that is the metric that they're using, I understand why Chase was given out. Let me say that again for people at the sides and out the back. I think that the explanation from the Snicko lot, third umpire, whatever, is bullshit. But if that is the genuine reasoning they use to justify the decision making, then I understand why Chase was out. That's all I'm saying. So anybody who joined in for tonight's show to hear me cuss and go, third umpire's teething us out. No, I'm not doing that. I'm not doing that. I'm always going to be far more. If you want the cuss out stuff, go find some angry next West Indies man to cuss. I'm always going to try come with a nuanced take on it, because I want to look at all of the evidence and try let that shit marinate and try come with a kind of analytical discussion on it. Like I say, I don't agree with that explanation, but if that's what they're using, I get why Chase was out. Okay, don't agree with it, but I get it if that's the explanation they're using. So that's the Chase teeth out. Let's move to the Hope teeth out now. So the Hope teeth out is the one where Carey takes the catch, right? Now, before I deep dive into the Hope teeth out, so Live says, good question. Live says, if you see a clear deviation with the naked eye, does that count as evidence? I think the problem is, Live, once you say you're going to the technology, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter what you see with the naked eye, because then you actually have to go to the technology. So the issue isn't, for all I know, the third umpire is looking at that guy and my naked eye tells me there's a deviation, but then you have to go through the rigmarole of the process of using the technology, because that's the whole point of going to the technology, is it not? So I hear you, but yeah, so Rod says here, so Rods, I think, is making my point for me here. Small spikes or flatter waveforms usually represent other noises, like the bat hitting the pad, the ground, or even a player's movement, and they're ignored, right? The large spikes indicate a distinct solid contact, typically bat on ball or ball on glove. That's the point I'm trying to make here. I don't agree, but if that's what it is, then I get it, is what I'm saying, right? Now, hear me out, people. Let's go to the Hope decision now. Now, before we break down the Hope decision, I want to read out a tweet that I wrote after the Hope decision. Let me just find it. I want bear with me, people, because I think if I read this tweet out, it will give you context for my views on stuff in general. Okay, hear me out. All right, where's the tweet? Let me find it. So this is what I wrote after the Hope decision. I'm going to say it slowly. My view on VAR or video slow-mos in any sport is that it just leads to confirmation bias. The minute you have to slow something down and repeatedly look at it frame by frame, meticulously, it means you already aren't sure what's happened. In cricket, that should always mean you err on the side of caution. That is my attitude in football with VAR. That is my attitude in cricket with any kind of slow-mos. Anything that is in slow-mo, I think, alters your perception of things. I'm not saying we mustn't look at slow-mo, but I am saying that if you look at anything in slow-mo and you have to keep rewinding, rewind, frame by frame, rewind, slow down on that frame, go back, forward on that frame. No, bring it back. Go forward again. Rewind. Go forward. Zoom in. Come back out. From the minute you're doing all of that, the decision is bullshit, because you don't know what you're doing. From the minute you have to do all that, the decision is already a bullshit decision. That's my view on it. Same with VAR in football. From the minute VAR is taking more than 3 minutes to make a decision, or 2 minutes, whatever, you already don't know what's going on. That's my issue with VARs and slow-mos. It distorts the perception of the real-time event. And you then are starting to use confirmation bias in your head. You're starting to look for something that you have already decided in your head might be there. And if you aren't already 100% certain, and you have to keep zooming in, zoom out, go forward a bit, go back a bit, you have to, I think the rules have to change. And you have to say, I'm not 100% certain. This decision is bullshit. That's my issue. That's my actual issue with it. Now, the question is this, though. In that decision with Hope, I think it means Hope is out. This is where you lot will get upset with me now. Hope walked off the pitch, right? Hope walked off the pitch, and the original perception on the ground was, oh, that catch has been taken by Carey. Hope is out. The minute you have to look at that decision 110 times to decide if Carey did or didn't take it, in that particular instance, I get why you go, I'm just going to side with the wicketkeeper. I don't think it's necessarily right to do so, but I get why you're going to do it, because you've already gone into the decision with the confirmation bias that, okay, on field, they're saying it's a fair catch. I need to find something conclusive that tells me that it's not. And if you're looking 10 million times and you ain't got nothing conclusive, to my definition of conclusive is you look 1-2 times and go, well, obviously that's not a catch. Go back to the umpire. Yeah, that's not out. So when Hope got given out, I was like, well, I don't agree with it per se, but I get it. I get it. Because all of this slow-mo stuff is bullshit. Check this out. Okay, good. Trevor Stewart's made the point. Trevor Stewart said the ball made contact with the ground. You don't actually know that. None of us actually know that. None of us. If you zoom in to a ball, and I'm not even trying to defend the Australians here. I'm just trying to be nuanced, right? If you zoom in, so here's the ball, right? If you zoom in, because Carey has caught the ball a bit like that, right? That's how I think he's caught it. That's my view. Now, if you zoom in on me catching a ball, the big round thing, and I've got it in my grip, and you're zooming in 10 million times, and I'm on the ground, of course it's going to look like it's touched the ground. It don't necessarily mean it did, or certainly it doesn't mean that it did significantly enough for it to definitely be not out. But if you zoom in, zoom, then yeah, I can make an argument that it's touched the ground. Like, that's what I'm trying to say here. I'm not trying to defend the Australians. I'm not trying to defend the dirty South African man. I'm not trying to defend them, but I'm not gonna go down this route of going, oh, it's a big teeth out. No, the issue here isn't the teeth out of the third umpire. The issue for me is how we use technology. That's my issue. That's actually my issue. What, you thought I was going to come on here and just cuss about how we got teethed out? Impossible. That's a different show. That's a different show. If that's what you want, you need to go somewhere else. You will never get that on my type of show. You will never get that. I'm gonna look under the floorboards of this thing. So, anyways, that's the Hope one. That's the Hope one. What else was the teeth out? So Hope got a teeth. Chase got a teeth. Right, let's go back. Sorry, I needed to make a point. So the Carey catch was given out on Hope, right? Yesterday, Hope's catch was given not out. My view, because what I put in the Discord was, I can't remember if it was in a WhatsApp chat or if it was in Discord. I can't remember which group I put it in. But my point to people I was chatting to was both decisions for me were inconclusive. That's my issue. I think both were inconclusive. I don't think there was enough in it. This is my personal view. Obviously, I know a lot of you think Hope took the catch cleanly. I know a lot of you think that that Carey didn't take the catch. That's cool. That's cool. Everyone's entitled to their opinion. But my view is, having looked at Hope's one yesterday and Carey's one today, I'm like, both are inconclusive. And right, and Matt Price hit the nail on the head. Who gets the benefit? And that's what we should be discussing, Matt. Who gets the benefit? I do not believe that there was 100% incontrovertible proof that Hope took the catch yesterday. I don't believe there was 100% incontrovertible proof that Carey took the catch today. I think once you play around with the technology like that, you can swing it any way you want. So the big question we need to ask ourselves is, who gets the benefit of the doubt? That's where we're going wrong in cricket for me. Who gets the benefit of the doubt? I did not see Hope's yesterday or Carey's today and go, that's definitely out or that's definitely not out. I looked at them both and just went, I don't know how the umpire can really tell this, to be honest. And then the umpire's general incompetence comes into play. But the bigger issues around this are use of technology and who's supposed to get the benefit of the doubt in these type of decisions. And this is why I don't think Neeks possibly isn't on this show today, but Neeks and I were going back and forth in the Discord on this yesterday, because my thing was with Hope's catch yesterday was given not out on the field, right? So I feel like sometimes you have to, it's like umpire's call with DRS, right? I feel like whatever instruction you're given on the field, you have to find 100% conclusive proof that the umpires have got it wrong. And for me, 100% conclusive proof doesn't mean looking at something 1 million times before you make a decision. That means you don't actually know what's gone on. So yeah, that's kind of my view on it, people. That's my view. So what was that? That's Hope's catch yesterday, Hope's dismissal today, Chase's dismissal today. There was an Australian dismissal to... What was that Australia decision today that was a mad one? Was it Australia? Who got given the benefit of the doubt with Australia? Was it, I think it was Cameron Green, but then he got out like a few balls later anyway. That one was a madder one to me. So Cameron Green, was that the one where his bat hit the pad? Like the bat passed the pad, past the pad. The spike seemed to suggest the ball hit the pad. And it looked like, the reason why that one was mad to me is because initially it looked like the umpire was going, yeah, I'm going to have to give that out. And then all of a sudden, the umpire went, nah, roll that forward a bit more. And then obviously he saw that the bat had hit the pad. And then he was like, oh, the bat's hit the pad. And he seemed to ignore the fact that he originally seemed to be leaning to the fact that there was a spike when the ball brushed the pad. And I was looking at that one going, what on earth is going on here? So this is now when I go back to the fact that the third umpire looked like he was incompetent, because that one made, like, I've tried to explain the Hope ones and the Chase one, but that one on Cam Green, because Cameron Green got out like 4 balls later and it had no consequence on the match because he didn't have any runs, we've probably all forgotten it. But that one, I was like, what on earth is going on? Like, I genuinely couldn't understand what was going on with the Cameron Green decision. And I don't think the players on the pitch could understand what was going on. Like, at one point, I thought Cameron Green's body language was like, oh, I'm out here. Because obviously they can watch it on the screen, right? And then I think everyone was just kind of like, wait, what? He's in. Like, that one I can't explain. If you ask me to try explain that one, I can't explain it. Even I don't know what to say about that one. That one I genuinely think was a teeth out. Like, I can't explain it. Although, again, if we go with the ideas about the spikes and a small, like, again, if we go back to that thing that Carlos said, where a small spike is ignored and it's the big spikes that the umpires are looking at, then maybe actually the Green decision makes sense. I don't know. I don't know. It's a madness, though. It's a real madness. Let's look at some comments. Sorry, there's a poll going on. I didn't even look. Okay, where's the poll? I'm going to end the poll. So 359 people voted. Sorry, I'm actually ending it now. 300, bloody hell, loads of you voted. Where's the flipping results? Sorry, it's going to come up in a second. Right, 377 people voted. 42% of you said that if Australia give us 200 to chase or more, we're going to lose. 33% of you said that if we have to chase more than 175, we're going to lose. 17% of you say that 150 plus will lose, and only 6% reckon we'll lose if we have to chase 125 plus. You lot are confident, boy. You lot are confident. Most of you think that we'll only lose if we have to chase more than 200. You lot are confident. You lot are mad confident. Haven't you just seen that the first innings was 180, plays 190, and Australia already 92 for 4 in the second innings? You lot are confident, boy. That's never me. I think I'm with Carl. I'm with Charlie. I don't know if he's still in the live. If West Indies have to chase anything over 150, I'm sweating for the whole duration of the innings. Anything over 150. If we have to chase anything under 150, I think we can win. Once it gets over 150, I'm sweating. I'm sweating about every single ball if it's over 150. What haven't we spoken about? Some individual performances. Let's last little bit, people. I just realized what time is. It's 11:30. Bloody hell! Or coming up to 11:30. Last little bit that I want to focus on. So, and maybe this is. I'm wary of making this point because maybe it's too early to have this discussion. Big up the 635 of you in the live, by the way. I should just say you can follow the Caribbean Cricket Podcast on all social media channels, people. X, Instagram, Blue Sky, Facebook, TikTok. We've got the website, which is being updated at the moment. So it's under construction, but there's still the old one there, www.caribbeancricketpodcast.com. So we're on all social media handles, people. You can find us everywhere. We're just about to hit 19,000 followers on X. I looked earlier on today, and I think we were like 20 people away. I know that's like the Elon Musk thing and Bun and Elon Musk, but we're about to hit 19K on X. So follow us there. Bearman have started following us on Instagram. Like, follow us there as well if that's your thing. The short content thing. So follow us there. So we're on all the social media handles. If you'd like to support the Caribbean Cricket Podcast, because we're sponsored, but we're not sponsored, if you see what I mean, you can head to www.patreon.com/Carib Cricket. You can follow us you can support us on that handle. We recently started a buy me a coffee, because not everybody likes to go to Patreon because they don't trust, I guess, online stuff, or maybe they just don't want to give money to support. But if you'd like to buy a coffee, you can go to the link is in the descriptor, and you can buy me and Santelki a coffee if you so feel like. Of course, on YouTube there's super chat, super thanks, and all of that as well. Also, shout out to Parlay Pros, our sponsors on the podcast. They are they use an AI, like a high quality AI data algorithm tool that studies the betting markets and basically looks at all of the trends across all sports. If you're somebody who likes to flutter on different types of sports, Parlay Pros have a high-tech data analytical tool which essentially gives you the best bets that you can make in the market. So if you're interested in that and that's your type of thing, again, click the link below to register your interest and go from there. I hasten to add, though, people, I will always say it, please don't get involved if you're somebody who has strong impulses and doesn't know how to control yourself. The only people who should get involved in anything betting related are people who actually know how to control their actual emotions and know how to regulate themselves. So please do it responsibly if you're getting involved in that type of thing. Let's look at some of the questions. Lots of people, or comments that people have put. So Mike Legend S, big support of the Caribbean Cricket Podcast. He says we need Head and Cummins out within the first 5 overs tomorrow. The first hour of play tomorrow is such a cliche, but it's super important tomorrow. If West Indies haven't got rid of for West Indies to really be on top in that first hour of play tomorrow, they need 2 wickets. I don't care which 2 it is, whether it's Head and Webster, whether it's Carey and Webster, Carey and Head. It doesn't really matter. But if we are going to push for a victory and restrict the Australians to set in as low a total as possible, 2 wickets have to fall in that first hour tomorrow. If Australia get through that first hour with only 1 wicket down, or God forbid, no wickets down, we're in problems. I don't think that will happen because of the nature of the wicket. It's so up and down and inconsistent. There's always a delivery there that's going to get you at some point. I'd like to think that we will strike, but we'll have to wait and see. Jamal says, you are spot on with the explanation by Carlos. So thank you for that, Jamal. I knew I wasn't making things up in my head. I try my best to explain what Carlos was saying, but I'm well aware that some people don't come here for nuance. They come here for ranting and raving. Z says, Mash, you are such a pessimist. You have no faith in your own team at all. Claiming Australia can defend 82 against West Indies is really really a bad take, even from you. Here's the difference between me and you, Z. You don't watch the West Indies. Any proper West Indies fan in here right now will know why I said that West Indies can lose with only 82 runs to get. Any proper West Indies fan knows why I said that. You ain't watched West Indies. You ain't watched this. No faith. No faith. This is the same guy who flew to flipping Republic of Ireland, Northern Ireland, went up and down England, flew to Trinidad last year, flew to Antigua, going to Jamaica. I got more faith than probably everybody in this chat. And that's why I know that we could lose even with only 100 runs to get. Like, you lot ain't been watching. You lot ain't been watching West Indies. You lot ain't real. And don't get me wrong, I'm fully in support of the guys. I hope we win. I think we could win, or can, not could. I think we can win, but I would not be shocked. Put it that way. Maybe that's the best way of saying it. I would not be shocked if we only had to get 120 to win and still manage to lose, because unfortunately, you have to understand where we are coming from. But anyways, Atush says, you've only got 19K on Twitter. That's very low. Okay. Okay, cool. Sorry, we can't meet your standards. What should we be aiming for? Do you know what we should do, Atush? We could easily have more than 19K followers on Twitter, right? Do you know how we could? If we decided to become aggregators. If we did what like some of them dunce, like, you know, those like Indian dunce guys who all they do is like they just tweet stuff like Virat Kohli has come out of a supermarket, and then you get like 1 million likes. Like, we could easily do that, you know. We could just do the aggregator thing, but my dad didn't raise me to be a dunce, so I can't do it. Like, I actually can't mentally degrade myself to be a dunce, so I just could never do that, unfortunately. But I hear you, though. I hear you. Sumit says, being a West Indies fan, so big up for the super chat, Sumit, appreciate it. Being a West Indies fan means ensuring a session day test ends without absolute madness and validating the competition before anything else. It's been 2 good days. Yeah, it's been 2 good days. It's been as good a 2 days as since the Gabba win. This has been, no, actually, that's a lie. No, because of course what happened in Pakistan. So essentially in the last year and a half, we've had a sensational time at the Gabba. We actually played really well in a different kind of way at home against South Africa in Port of Spain. Obviously, the miracle in Multan, we put in a really good performance to beat Pakistan. So we've had some good days. So in the context of where West Indies have been in the last 18 months, these are two very good days, better than anybody could possibly have expected, if being realistic. So yeah, Tom, completely agree there, to be fair. Abhinav, thank you for the super chat as well. Abhinav says, in Sammy and Rampal, I trust. Yeah, Rampal was outside. He was outside today. I noticed that. He was down on the balcony. He was getting involved and so on and so forth. So yeah. Yeah. The thing is, if I say in Sammy and Rampal I trust, people call me an apologist. But what I will say is this is their first test match, and I've been impressed with what I've seen. That's what I will say. So big up to them in that regard. Okay, let's see what comments are going on. So Akash says, at least India has Virat and Rohit as a brand who can earn followers. What West Indies has? No legend since 2013. That's why you have low followers on Twitter. Do you know what I was about to say? I was about to say something so reckless that people would have told me off for saying it. I guess the difference is, Akash, is that I don't care about sucking the toes of a cricketer. So I couldn't give a damn about a cricketer's individual brand because I didn't grow up putting cricketers on a pedestal. So miss me with the Virat and Rohit have a brand. Like, what do you want me to do? You must want me to blow them. Like, I don't care, bro. Like, whatever. So yeah. Let's move, people. What do you not think this is? What do you not think this is? What show do you think you're on? You think you can come talk to me any old way? I'll tell you to go suck your... Anyways, let me relax. Let me relax because you'll bring out the Jamaican in me. I might all just go look for a rock stone right now and dash it against my own laptop. So let me just corner man. Don't let me just duck down on the floor for a big rock stone. I will duck for a rock stone, you know. I will duck for a rock stone or find a big plank of wood. I'll find a big piece of wood and tell you about your grannies underneath. What? Do you know? Anyway, let me corner man. Ah, boy. God, the real Jamaican will come out in me, you know. Boy. when a man starts saying he'll tell you about your grannies underneath, that's when you know a man's getting heated. Poking man in his chest and getting heated out here. Where is it? Boy. Listen. I want a revival in my soul. I want a revival in my soul. Get out my Sankey, you know. Who knows that song? Boy. I should come off the show, you know. Anyways, last bit of the show. So I did just want to touch briefly on Shea Hope, because so Hope's, the reason why I'm touching on this is because we had a really robust conversation. So we had a really robust conversation in one of my group chats about Shea Hope, and like, I don't mind saying what I said because I'm not about to try and sugarcoat it and pretend that I had it right and so on and so forth. So what I said in the group chat was, I put a comment in the group chat because prior to the first test, people in the group chat had said to me, we had been arguing, going back and it's an uncle's group chat, and we'd been arguing back and forth. I'm probably the youngest uncle in there, but it's an uncle's group chat all the same. And we'd been arguing back and forth. People had said to me, why has Sammy called Chase and King and so on and so forth into the team? But more specifically, we were talking about King and Hope. So obviously I had presented my arguments as to why I thought King and Hope had been called into the side, and how how like they should have seen it come in, and that Sammy had kind of indicated that they were going to come into the team, and so on and so forth, right? And at the end of today, at the end of the West Indies innings, I put in the group chat, and yeah, I'm willing to accept that maybe it was a snarky comment, but it wasn't actually meant like that. So I put in the group chat, it's interesting that the same player that you had all told me doesn't deserve to be back in the team because his ODI runs aren't red ball runs. It's so interesting that he top scored. And then we all went back and forth for a bit because people were saying, Mash, I don't know why you're boasting about a man scoring 48. I see you're getting happy, but 48 doesn't mean anything, and so on and so forth. And my point was very simple. All I was trying to make the point about was, surely you see why Hope has come back into the team. The biggest critique I had of the West Indies team over the last 18 months was the joke is, everybody was saying this for the last 18 months. And this is why I'm saying, is the issue Sammy? Is the issue that some people just don't like Sammy? Because for the last 18 months, everyone who's got any sense was going, this team needs some experience. There's not enough experience in the West Indies batting lineup. Everybody, like Louis only played 9 first-class games. Afanase and Hodge, they've got some ability, but there's no one in and around them that can guide them. Holder comes in, then Holder's out. Graves has come in now. And everybody was looking at the team going, where's the experienced batters? Give us at least 1 or 2 experienced man to help mold these guys. So Sammy comes in now. He calls in Hope, calls back Chase, calls in King. And he got a couple of man going, why is he calling in these 30-year-olds? You got to trust the youth. And in my head, I'm thinking, at least we've got some experienced guys in the team now. And what I'm leading now to my conclusion. What I saw today wasn't about the score. I wasn't focusing on, he top scored and therefore that means Shea Hope is good. My point really was more about, this is the benefit of having experience in your side. Because hear me out. What I saw from Chase and Hope today, hear me out, people, because I'm not saying I'm right. I'm not saying I'm right, but this is just the point I'm trying to make. What I saw from Chase and Hope today was 2 players that have been there and done it before. Now, when I say been there and done it, that doesn't mean they've been world beaters, but they've just been there and done it. Chase has got 5 test centuries. Whether you agree with him or not being there and being captain, he's got 5 test centuries. He's in both of our white ball sides. They play all over the world. Hope has 17 ODI centuries. He plays all over the world in all these competitions and for the West Indies. He's our white ball captain. And there were times in the Hope and Chase partnership was like, even if these men get out, I've seen enough to understand that they at least understand the situation they're in. Now, does that mean they will always score 44 and 48? Does that mean they'll always do well? No. But I do think that we saw today the value of experience in a West Indies side. That's mainly what I'm getting at. Now, Hope could go on to be a flop in the however many next test matches for the rest of this year. But in the isolation of what I saw today, and in the context of a test match where it's 180 plays 190, that 48 is equivalent to like 88 in the context of the test match we're watching. But man didn't like it. Man wanted to say I was getting excited about Hope's 48. I don't know. What do you like? What do you want me to say then? Should I cuss him? What do you want me to say? If I'm Darren Sammy after today, in terms of the batting, I'm feeling a tad vindicated. Not a lot. I'm not saying majorly, but I'm feeling a tad vindicated for my decision making. That's all I'm saying. That's all I'm saying. This against Australia, you know. But, you know, anyways, you already done know. The problem with this channel is I try come on here and actually just try to talk and look at things from loads of different angles. And more time, I think people just want me to just do clickbait ranting and write clickbait headlines in the text and then just not say anything of consequence. Like, we got to talk about this shit properly, man. Like let's deep dive into it properly. Let's have a nuanced conversation, or let's just not talk. Because what's the point then? Okay, just a couple more comments. Because well, there's loads of comments. Sorry, I can't keep up with all of them. There's loads, to be fair. Okay, let's get through some comments. Here we go. So, Mindset Media's vexed me. Mindset Media says, so it's a swearing and telling people about their granny that's Jamaican. That's all Jamaica is about. No, that's your problem. You see, one of the biggest issues, Mindset Media, that people have on social media, and this is the affliction that you've fallen foul of right now. Okay. You listen to somebody say something and then you transpose onto that person and project onto them your own emotions and feelings. So that comment, that's your problem. That's not my problem. So you sit in that and stew. I'm not taking that on. That's a you problem. That's not a me problem. But I do understand that when you put yourself on media in any forms, you're there for people to basically say stuff at and cuss and so on and so forth. So it's part of the game, right? But you need to understand that when it comes to me and people saying, so basically you're saying, no, that's what you're saying. Don't try it with me. Don't try with me. That's your issue. Okay. So you sit in that and stew yourself, my friend. I'm not taking that on. Gelon Don says, I'm way behind in the stream. So he must be like 20 minutes behind. I think the Hope decision is a bad case to be bringing nuance. That was straightforward. The umpires missed it. I don't know which one you're talking about, Gelon. I don't know if you're talking about his catch or if you're talking about Carey's catch off Hope. The umpires missed it. You picked a bad example to make your point. Fair enough. Cool. This must be Bigfoot says, what's your thoughts on the vice captain? He hasn't bowled one ball, came in as a night watchman and faced 2 balls for a silver duck. I'm not going to comment on it till the end of the match because I've thought about commenting on it earlier today, and then I said, you know what, let me just leave that for now because there's this at the end of the day, the seamers are doing their job. So let me come back to that at the end of the test match. Asif Mahmood, super chat. Thank you for the super chat, Asif. Much appreciated. Hey, yeah, bloody hell, Asif. Sorry, I just realized what's going on. I ain't heard from you in time. Oh my gosh. Hey, just to let you know, I'm still alive and following. Remember the days when CCP was live streaming on Instagram. Keep up the good work. Big up Asif. Asif has been following CCP from back when we recorded audio podcasts and sounded like we were in a submarine. That's how long Asif's been following CCP. Big up Asif. Good to hear from you, bro. Long time. Keep commenting in general. Good to hear from you. Genuinely, I mean that. Okay, let's take a few more comments. Denzel says it was bad planning. They didn't expect seamers to dominate the match that much. You reckon? You reckon? Because Australia, at the end of the day, always play Nathan Lyon regardless. Are you saying that we shouldn't have played Warwican and played Anderson Phillip and just let Chase be the sole? In that case, you have a point in that they could have got away with Chase being the sole spinner and then Anderson Phillip. It's essentially what we did to Bangladesh at Christmas, where we just lengthened them down with seam. But yeah, I get the impression though? I wonder if it's something to arts in the post-test match media press call. What did they think the pitch was going to do? Because I don't know if you lot remember when Australia won the toss, Chase said, yeah, we would have batted first. So I wonder what type of pitch they were expecting, because Australia seemed shocked to get a pitch that was 180 all out. Were they both expecting it to be something better than 180 all out? So that's quite interesting. Okay, here we go. Real Legit says King's selection has no validation apart from wanting white ball cricketers to play Test cricket. Graves is another one that needs to be cut off because he's selected as a batter but contributes nothing. Okay, so let's deal with Graves first. So Graves has played. When did Graves make his debut? Was it Bangladesh? So Graves has played. No, it was before that. Did he debut versus South Africa? So Graves has played 2 tests against Bangladesh, 2 tests against Pakistan, 1 against Australia, or is in what? I feel like he must have played 2 against South Africa, and he's got a century. So Graves basically has a century in 6 tests. Yeah, we should dash him out. Yeah. I think that makes sense. We're going to dash him out because he's only got a century in 6 tests. I get it because he averages less than 20 probably at this moment in time. At the end of the day, if they've decided to move on past Jason Holder, or maybe Jason Holder's not made himself available, the only other all-rounder you could call who could do a better job than Graves is Carl Mayers, but I think he's given up on Test cricket. So who are you really going to call instead of Graves then? Tell me the all-rounder, seeming all-rounder that you would call instead of Justin Graves. Just let me know. Okay, take a few more comments. I just realized the show's gone for an hour. Bloodfire. I'm going to lock this one off, man. Look for a couple more comments and I might lock it off. So Francis Feller says they should not have played Warwican. They should have played Hope as a batter and Imlek as a keeper on this pitch. But then who would Hope be replacing? Yeah, who would Hope replace? I'm not discounting your comment. I just who would Hope replace? Kalel says the pitch had something for the batters as well. You just have, yeah. So I agree with this comment from Kalel. I do think it's a pitch that you can score runs on it, but you have to be able to grit it out. So kind of like what Chase and Hope did. I know Hope was positive. By the way, that cover drive from Shea Hope, I think it was early in his innings. He played a cover drive and then he played a straight drive down the ground. Who remembers that? Listen, you see them shots, those 2 shots from Hope? I was like, yeah. I think the second one, after he pulled off the straight drive down the ground, I was like, yeah, I said, you're taking the piss. Like, you're taking the piss. Do you know how good that was? Do you know when Shea's in his full flow, he might be our most technically proficient batter in the region. I was like, bloody, that cover drive, I was like, nah, you're taking the piss. Do you know how good that was? I said, Judger, now this guy, if we can find this guy and he can translate what he does in white ball to red ball, it's a real problem. If you haven't seen it, if you don't watch any other highlights of the day and you only go find the cover drive and the straight drive, I'm not even overreacting. Like, it was so classy, so classy. Anyways, I might end it right there. I might end it right there. Yash says, do you think John Campbell will be selected for the next test? Yes. Come on, man. Like, listen, even if like he gets laying down for less than 10 in the second innings, you're not going to call a man back to then just drop him after 1 test. He's going to get the whole series. Okay, even if he fails, he's getting the whole series. Okay, I'll end here because I was waiting to see if somebody was going to test me on this. So this gentleman here says, was going to stir up. I was going to stir up this live, but I'm not going to. But Shamar Joseph seems to be in 2 worlds, but focus on cricket perfectly despite the situation. I mean, some of you will say, Mash, you shouldn't have put the comment on the screen, but it is what it is. I think, let me deal with it diplomatically, because some people who are in this live right now will probably be like, what on earth is going on? So I will just deal with it diplomatically. And one of the reasons why I am going to address it is because I don't want anybody to think that CCP is trying to ignore it or that CCP isn't aware of it, because we are aware, but we are choosing not to say anything publicly on it because we don't know. Like, listen, there's libel out here and things like that, right? Until things come out in the open with clear evidence and clear understanding that a process is going on, then we're not going to say anything. So until then, as a kind of public-facing organization, my attitude to it is to say, yes, we are aware of some stuff. We do not know if there is any truth in it. It's all alleged. So therefore, we choose not to comment and focus on it, because until it goes past being alleged, it is not right to make comment, because all we're then doing is adding, basically we're adding to the sus and the rumor. So I'm not on anything right now, if that makes sense. So yes, I've heard, but no, I'm not. But no, I'm not commenting in any public arena on anything. Okay, so that's essentially my take on it. Whatever the rest of you want to do, you can do whatever you want, but publicly, no, is my situation here. Right, listen, people. I'm going to call it to a close there. An hour and 5 that went. The day at the test, the second day. I know not all of you are going to agree with some of those takes. You're not. Listen, you're not here. This show isn't about I'm gonna just pontificate and you have to agree with me. By all means, disagree if you want to. I'm not saying that. We know better and you lot don't know anything. Sometimes we're wrong. And if I believe somebody's made a good point, you'll see me hold up my hands and go, yeah, fair enough, actually. But this is what the Caribbean Cricket Podcast is all about. We break things down. We try and look at things from different angles. We get some things right. We get some things wrong. But the one thing you can never criticize us about is we will try and look at things thoroughly in as nuanced and as analytical a way as we possibly can. We're not just going to do the clickbait thing. We could, and it would probably be more successful for the brand, but that's not what we're about. Listen, people, good second day for the West Indies. I didn't even answer the question. Who's ahead in the test match? I think it's Even Stevens. I thought it was Even Stevens on day 1, and I still think it's Even Stevens on day 2. And the reason why I think it's Even Stevens is because it could go in any direction early on day 3. Head and Webster and Carey could take it away from us, or our bowling attack could rip through them, and then before you know it, by lunch, Australia all out, and we only have 130 to chase. So it literally is Even Stevens. It could go either way by lunchtime tomorrow, literally, right? So lock in, people. Lock in. Australia have certainly got a much greater fight than they would have expected. They now know that they're in a test series. And West Indies under Darren Sammy have made a lot of people eat their words and made people realize that, no, we got a plan and we got a focus. Remember what I said on a show on Monday, I think with Jono? There was a comment I made on Monday. If you remember, if anybody watched it, let me know in the comments, right? I said I was about to go, but this is the last thing. On Monday, I made a comment to Jono where I said, the one thing that's possibly in West, or maybe it was on the live show on Tuesday, I said the one thing that's possibly in West Indies' favour here is everybody in Sammy's team has some kind of point to prove. The whole batting lineup has a point to prove. Zari's back, he's got a point to prove. Shamar, couple man wanted to say that he's not as potent as he used to be. He's playing against Australia. He had a point to prove. So Chase is the new captain. He's got to lead from the point front. He's got a point to prove. And I did say that I just wonder, West Indies always tend to play their best when everybody said you're shit and you're no good. And when they kind of feel like the backs are up against the walls and people don't believe in them, they always seem to produce a performance that no one expected. Kind of feels like that's where we're at right now. Okay, so big up the guys, big up them on their performance, big up Sammy and his crew. We're doing well. We're 2 days in. We're really in a test match against the World Test Championship runners-up. Let's move, people. Same time tomorrow. We'll go live, or I'll try to, certainly, and we'll discuss and we'll go from there. I've been Machel St. Patrick here at 1/2 the Caribbean Cricket Podcast. All the descriptors and all the links of where you can find us, where you can maybe financially contribute if you want to. If you want to get involved with our sponsors, Parlay Pros, because you're a betting guy and you like to flutter, do it responsibly. The link for them is in the chat as well. Any questions, comments, comment and do all of that, and share it, people. At one point today, there was 670 of you in the live at any one time. Big up the movement. We keep moving, we keep growing. Like, share, and subscribe on the way out, and I'll see you all very, very soon.
West Indies Cricket, Caribbean Cricket Podcast.